Hello and thanks for joining us for This Week, where we bring you the real story behind the big story. I'm ABC24 content manager Brad Broders, filling in this Sunday for Richard Ransom. A reminder, you can see an encore of this presentation at 10:35 on ABC24 and 9 o'clock on our sister station CW30. Let's break down this week's topics. Will your wallet in Shelby County soon be stretched a little thinner? The city of Memphis and Shelby County consider property tax hikes in budget votes next week. Do either of them have enough support to pass? We'll discuss. And a new local poll shows some eye-opening numbers of how those perceive crime and gun safety measures in the Memphis area. We'll discuss, including new reaction from that poll from Memphis Mayor Jim Strickland. And this weekend marks 1 year since Roe v. Wade was overturned, stripping abortion access in the Mid-South states. What's changed politically on both sides of this issue? Well, let me introduce you to our panel. To my far right, we have Daily Memphian reporter Sam Hardiman and Deidre Malone, the founder and CEO of Carter Malone Group. Thanks for being here this Sunday. Well, we begin with a busy week expected with members of the Shelby County Commission and Memphis City Council approving their spending plans and possible tax hikes. Monday, Shelby County commissioners will consider raising the wheel tax and/or property taxes to pay for things such as an upgraded Regional 1 and a new high school. Tuesday, the Memphis City Council will weigh in on Martavius Jones's proposal to increase the city's property tax to pay to expanded transit, affordable housing, and other priorities. Well, Sam, we'll start with you. You're primarily on the City Council beat. What do you make of this tax proposal? Could it be all 29 cents? Is there enough stomach for the majority on the council? Where do we stand right now?
That's really the ultimate question there, Brad, right? As we saw it at their last meeting, which was on June 13th, many members of the City Council were like, I don't know about 10%. We would be going essentially from a tax rate of $2.71 per $100 of assessed value to a $3 per $100 of assessed value. That's 10%. Councilwoman Cheyenne Johnson, who is likely one of the swing votes on anything at City Council, was like, I don't know about that. And so what you're looking at is it's probably much more likely that something in the neighborhood of 12 to 14, 15 is probably more palatable than something like 29.
And Deidre, I know Mayor Strickland said last Friday in his weekly address that we don't need a tax increase. Memphis and Shelby County have the highest in all of the counties in the state. Do you think that will swing the councils? What do you make right now?
Well, I don't know, since it's really up to the City Council to kind of make that decision because they have to fund the budget. I think they're going to be real thoughtful about it. And I think it's important for the public to remember that these legislative bodies can't make a move because they only have like a property tax or a wheel tax, right? And that's because the state legislature will have to approve if they have any other funding source. And so I think they're going to be thoughtful and try and do the right thing.
And Sam, going to the county budget, I know the wheel tax didn't get the 9 needed votes earlier this month from the Shelby County Commission. There may be our plan B. Do you think there's enough for that? I know wheel tax, Mayor Harris is supportive of, but then others are saying property tax would be more equitable. How do you think that might play out on the county side?
To be honest, I'm a little over my skis there, Brad. And so I'd encourage you to read the Daily Memphian and see Bill Drees' coverage of the matter, because I don't want to pontificate about something I don't know about.
But it is interesting, though, Deidre. I mean, we're talking about city and county potentially double whammy of tax increases. I don't know if one body thinks about what the other side's doing, and if the county votes Monday, then the council will have to maybe, in response to what the county may have done on Monday.
I think commissioners that live in the city are going to be real thoughtful about that. But I can tell you, as a former county commissioner, former budget chair, I'm sure that Commissioner Whaley is sitting there just trying to figure out where the commission's going to go with this. I know that the majority of them are not comfortable with the wheel tax, so there may be an opportunity to see a little bit of wheel tax, a little bit of property tax, but we'll just see what happens.
And I mean, we're talking about, people's wallets in a pretty poor city. And I mean, I know we're talking about priorities and this, but we'll just have to see what the priorities are. And I mean, we're talking about MATA, but Mayor Strickland, as you know, is talking about the $50 million that will soon come in to the coffers, and how might that impact?
What the mayor is talking about is the debt cliff, right? And he's talking about the fact that the city's debt service is going to go down in 26 and 27, those fiscal years, so 25 and 26, and you're going to have more of the property tax revenue to spend. The mayor's already spent some of that debt cliff. Accelerate Memphis, the bond package that he passed in 2021, was reaching out into that debt cliff. That's why they needed special state permission to do that. And so while the mayor's talking about that, and that's something that's being talked about, I think, by some mayoral campaigns, that's a long way away. And as I think we're going to talk about next with the polling data that's been coming out of my shop recently, it's what you're talking about at the city council, and you're talking about with Regional 1 and the schools there. Those are essential needs. Those are things that they're giant construction projects. The Regional 1 and the schools are. And if you start those 2-3 years later, on the county side, that really matters. So all of this is how much in a very poor city, you're exactly right, Brad, can the people's representatives ask them to pay versus how much do not paying for things, as we've seen at MLG&W, not paying for things has backfired. And so that's really the balance here.
Indeed, I mean, as you know, Regional 1's the only
Yes.
trauma center, not just for Memphis, but for Arkansas, Mississippi. I mean, how much, there's certainly a need, a huge need there. And do you, like to Sam's point, inflation, other things, do you kick it down the road, or do you have to start
can't.
addressing it now?
I don't think you can kick it down the road. I think you have to deal with it. I was talking to the executive director for the Kingdom, who was shot a year ago and had to go to Regional 1, and he had to stay in that hallway. Now, he's shot 2-3 times. He's in the hallway. And it's a trauma center, but it's crowded. It's old, it's dilapidated, and so there definitely is a need. So I think the county commission needs to work with the mayor to figure out how are we going to pay for it, because we really need a new hospital. It's important to have.
And same for the city council, I mean, a lot of these members are outgoing, so how much do you think that might impact maybe their courage to raise taxes, considering they're not maybe facing voters this fall?
In the case of Frank Clavette, who's running for city mayor and is staunchly anti-tax, it's not going to affect him at all. He's been anti-tax the entire time he's on the city council.
Right.
He's gone out that way. He's running his mayoral campaign that way. I think you could see that, but to be honest, I would honestly look more towards those who are on the city council and who are going and are running for re-election to actually be the ones that are going to take the tough vote to maybe raise taxes. I would look to them.
And that could be the swing vote for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that's a great discussion. We'll have to leave it there. But after the break, a new local poll out from the Daily Memphian this week is raising some eyebrows and could be yet another reminder of what's at stake in this fall's Memphis mayoral race. We'll explain after the break. You're watching ABC 24 This Week.